Hello and welcome to Woman Thou Art. I'm your presenter, Faith Katai. On this episode, we are featuring Dr. Gertrude Chuma, a retired gynecologist who is going to share some of her real-life experiences. Doc, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
You are looking so beautiful.
Thank you. We have to keep up, you know, as we are advancing in age.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to keep up appearance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So,
Thank you.
explain to us, Doc, tell us, who is Dr. Chuma?
Yeah, so my full names are Gertrude Gundumure, that's my maiden name, and Chuma is my husband's name. So like I have said, I'm married, and I'm a family person. I really love family. And I was born in a place called Namwala in the southern province. Born and bred in Zambia, trained in Zambia, and I've always been here, never left. One of the faithful people that you have in Zambia is me. Thank you.
How was your childhood in terms of your upbringing?
It was, I wouldn't say that it was one of those exemplary upbringings. I had my own challenges. I come from a broken home. So we had those challenges, you know, where we are left with one parent who has to fend for you, has to make sure you're educated. And we were told to work hard because what we had in our house was not ours. It belonged to parents, so you must work hard for yourself. Yeah, and I thank God because that has brought me here. Yeah, and what has helped me along the way really is my faith in God. I'm not ashamed that I'm a Christian, and I can say that the Lord Jesus Christ has molded me to be what I am today. Yeah, so that's what I can say about myself.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So as a retired gynecologist,
Yeah.
I understand you are not just at home doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing for a living after retirement?
Yeah, retired and not tired. There's a lot that I'm doing at home. Not only at home, actually, I'm rarely home. So I'm like trotting and doing all sorts of things. Yeah, and I think one of the things that kept me when I retired, there were some things that were left hanging, and I went ahead and continued with those things. One of the things that I did was to develop an electronic referral system because I noticed that there was a challenge with referrals, and I combined it with what we call SBA. It's a very good, effective way of communicating. We piloted that, it went very well, and I handed over to those that I left in the system, except it needed paying for, so I was paying for that system to work. And I also am a coordinator for Healthcare Christian Fellowship, and that also keeps me really going. This is an organization that deals with healthcare workers within the health institutions, get their attitude right toward work, and help the systems to achieve, rather than being a challenge and a problem in the institution. And we've traveled under that to many different parts of the country. And, we have a few partners that give us some things to distribute to women because that's where my passion is. So I take baby things and, mother things to these women in these institutions. And just to wake up the health workers to provide compassionate care to their patients. Yeah, because that's the example we have, compassionate care. And I also belong to a number of boards. I can't even mention them. Yeah, so a lot of things happen in that direction. And I also continued after that because we have an association as obstetricians and gynecologists. So initially I was the vice president, and then I became secretary general, from up going low. Yeah, but I enjoyed what I was doing as a Secretary General of that organization. And at some point through that organization, we formed what was called something that had to do with reducing maternal mortality. We were working with government, with Ministry of Health, and I was chosen the secretary there as well. So, I had to organize people, and we went to Siavonga, had a good time there, but learned from one another how to reduce maternal mortality better. Yeah, and I do some work with the Health Professions Council of Zambia in terms of looking at the way those ones that are implicated in some malpractices and so on. Yeah, in terms of investigating them and coming up with reports. So that also kind of keeps me busy because we want to make sure that standards are followed. I've done a consultancy under the World Health Organization for a long time. I am a trained advocate of breastfeeding. And I don't like the bottle, by the way. I hate it. So if I find it, you can rest assured I'll put it aside and just get on with breastfeeding. Yeah, so I love that. It's one of my passions. So we've trained a number of workers in Lusaka, and some workers have been trained out there through other colleagues of mine that have managed to go out there to train other people. Yeah, but very interesting. I also do farming. So I'm into farming as well. I've put up some maize, gankata? The gankata, that maize, the traditional one. Not the seed corn, not this. Yeah, you see what I mean? Yeah, so I've put up sunflower, I've put up some garlic and all sorts of things on the farm, a garden. Yeah, so I'm really getting a passion in that as well. I want to contribute in that area of agriculture because, when you are into agriculture, then you have a nation that is fed. Yeah. So those are some of the things that are keeping me busy.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Some of them, there are other things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you living your dream?
I am living my dream. I love the fact that in the beginning, I think when I was going to school initially, my friends encouraged me to be a medical doctor. They did that a lot. I don't know what they saw in me. They said, no, you can make a very good doctor. But believe you me, I was not there. Because I loved mathematics so much. So it's like I had another few people that were encouraging me to be an engineer. Yeah, because I asked, so what can I do in mathematics? Yeah, so they said, no, you can make a good engineer. But I thank God that at the end of the day, my mother nailed it all because she found me a scholarship to Czechoslovakia. So I went there. I spent my 3 years in Czechoslovakia trying to do medicine. But my heart was at home. I've told you I'm a home person. So I was so homesick that when I came back for holiday, I came back for good, never went back to Czechoslovakia. And because I already had a place at the University of Zambia, I was one of those few that were selected when I completed my Form 5 then. It was very easy for me to just get back and say, oh, I'm back. Please give me back my position. So I thank God that my mother worked so hard to get me back. And she worked so hard, that woman, to ensure that I was educated. She paid for whatever needed to be paid for. And because she was working for University of Zambia, I was privileged to have a full bursary. So because of her, I completed my education. Yeah, and of course, before I completed my education, I had to take care of siblings because at some point she had to stop. She got tired. So I started doing business in my room, started, tailoring, and I was, those days I was what was called Mwaiseni and ZBC, ZPC, something like that, a shop, you know, like a ShopRite kind of thing. So I was a supplier there. I used to do tailoring and raise funds to also educated to get my siblings educated.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you can also do some tailoring?
I can do some tailoring, I can do flower arrangements, yeah, I can do catering, I can cook, you know. Yeah, but except I don't have that much time, but when I cook for my husband, he really appreciates, like, wow, this is good food, yeah.
So where did you get your inspiration to study or pursue medicine?
To
'Cause you
pursue
mentioned to say
medicine,
you didn't want to get into the field.
into the field,
Yeah.
it's my mother. Finally, like I said, it was my mother who nailed it all. So when she, when I got accepted to go to University of Zambia, it was to go and do natural sciences and then go into engineering. But I thank God that that didn't happen. So she organized for me, you know how mothers are. I think she wanted the prestige of saying, no, my daughter is abroad, you know, studying abroad. And I mean, every mother, every father wants that. Yeah, so, but out of that, it came the fact that I started medicine there. So that interest was generated. And because when I came back, there was no opportunity for me to start natural sciences in a way that I would go the direction of engineering. So the negotiation here was, let's go, it's medicine. Yeah, so I did that, and then I branched and I went into that area of medicine because that's what I had started there. I was exempted here when I came. I didn't do the full, I didn't start from first year at University of Zambia.
Great.
So yeah.
Why gynecology? Is it gynecologist?
Obstetrics and
Yes.
gynecology. So obstetrics, obstetrics is about women who are pregnant, particularly from, you know, the age of what we call from the second trimester of pregnancy, third trimester. Yeah, so you find that at that time, in different countries, you find that obstetrics kicks in. Yeah, okay, because you are taking care of this baby now who must be delivered and survive the outside environment. Gynecology is about taking care of the other, like the first trimester babies, you know. I'm just putting it simply for people to understand. And then the whole system, the reproductive system of a woman falls under a gynecologist. So all the challenges there, the tumors, everything you can think of is there. Yeah, so that's what obstetrics and gynecology is all about. Yeah, so the motivation really, because already when we are talking like that, we are talking about a woman. I love women. You know, I'm one of those people that have no problems relating with women. You know, when I'm driving, I think I'm one of those that pick up women. I actually look out for them on the road and say, like, this woman is walking, where is she going? I carry them with me and I take them where they are going. Yeah, so women are very vulnerable. And I think the thing about obstetrics also, when it comes to giving birth, I think it's one of those vocations that have been automatically given to us. You know, feel the earth. Like, you know, God says, feel the earth. Yeah. Go reproduce, you know. So it's one of those God-given, you know, professions that one can take up because you're partnering with God. You see what I mean? Yeah, so that's what's interesting about it. To see a woman go through that pregnancy and survive is breathtaking. Like, really? And, you know, the Bembas have this adage, they say, Mwapusukeni, you know. So to be there and reduce unnecessary deaths. You know, no woman shall die giving birth. That's one of the slogans that we have. So I think to me it's a big achievement to see that woman smiling and going home with that baby in their hands. Again, on the other side, when you have a death, oof, it affects you for months. You will remember that death. I can literally remember some of the deaths that we've had. it's disheartening. So we need people with a heart in this field, because it's about life issues. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's take a short break. Stay tuned.
Woman Thou Art is a program that offers counsel to the female folks, sharing real-life experiences and providing guidance to the women and young girls on the necessary steps and conducts that will shape and nurture a sober society. Watch Woman Thou Art every Wednesday at 18:30 hours.
Welcome back. In case you have just tuned in, you are watching Woman Thou Art, a program where women share their real-life experiences on various issues. Doc, back to our interview. In your field of gynecology, what are some of the challenges that you have faced as a woman?
As a woman, I must say we face challenges, whether man or woman. Yeah, and there are some very specific challenges that women in healthcare face. Yeah, but I think I have been privileged not to have faced those challenges. Some of the challenges that are there, being trodden upon by men, and the men feeling like they are more superior to you. So even positions going to men. And there's also been some degree of sexual harassment in the healthcare field. We are not exempt. But I must admit I have not faced those. I have had very good relationships with the male folk. So there's no challenges to talk about. I think they've given me the space that I need. Maybe it's a rapport that you develop with them, and how you respect them. Men like being respected. Yeah. So if you respect them, you honor them, give them their space, give them space for their ego to manifest there. Just leave them there. Yeah. But just be who you are. I think that has kind of helped me in that area. Yeah.
Mention to us some of the greatest achievements in your field.
It's a very it's a good question, but also challenging to respond to. Yeah, so I think I would really begin it by just placing a disclaimer there, because I don't think that there's any one doctor that can say they have achieved on their own, they have done this big thing. Yeah, we always say in medicine that we ride on the shoulders of the great giants that have gone ahead of us. So we are molded by certain people that have impacted our lives. They've taught us, they've brought us through, and I am not exempt. I have a number of those, if given time, I can list them, that have been a model to me. So in trying to come up with what have I achieved, I want to be very careful not to appear like, this one has done these things. Yeah, but of course there's that little corner that God gives you where you push in this and push in that. So I think those are areas where maybe we can really talk about. So in terms, I think, of a service to the women, we are taught, I think, to go that to do certain things, but as an individual you can go an extra mile. And I think one of the things that somehow I have managed to do is to connect with the patient. Yeah, to connect very well with the patient. Not with the brain, not with anything else, but with the heart. Yeah, so serve with the heart. And you pick some of those things when you are in the space where you are learning. So I'll give you an example of, I can actually tell you a secret on this one. There was one particular patient who had a big challenge. She was a foreigner. she didn't have any relative here in Zambia. So I was assigned to look after that patient by my superior in B13 there, if you know B13. So I took care of her. And I learned that she was all by herself here. So I took it upon myself to make sure. So she had a complication. She lost at about 11 weeks or so of pregnancy, which is about just barely before 3 months. She lost the waters from the womb. And usually what we do at that point is to, no, let's terminate. Completely, that womb was dry, but that woman refused to get that pregnancy terminated. And she demanded that she be discharged. So she was discharged. And guess what? I followed her home. I connected with her and I kept on checking on her, And at some point, she started talking to me about my private life. Like, are you married? I said, no, I'm not married. No, I've got a brother. Now, the short of it is that I'm married to that brother now. That's a brother I'm married to. Because that's the direction that it went. So also, I meet a lot of these, now I'm meeting my future fellow doctors, because the mothers, when we meet, doctor, I don't know, for some reason, maybe my face hasn't changed. So, you delivered me, do you remember? But you can't remember all of them. And I had this challenge and you prayed for me and you did this. So I said, no, I just glorify God. Yeah, because it was him at the end of the day. That's what those conversations do. They direct the thanksgiving to God, because it was him who did it, it's not me. So it washes away this glory from my hands. You see what I mean? Yeah, so while working in labor ward, I noticed that labor ward was very congested. And we used to have women there. That was my learning environment. We would have beds, okay? We would have beds with, like you put a mattress on the corridor because the beds are full. And there are 3 women on that mattress and they are delivering. I got my iPad and started taking photos of those things. And when I would take those photos, I would run to different people that I thought were in authority and show them, look at what's happening with labor. Can we please do something about this? And that time I remember that labor ward at UTH was delivering like around 80, sometimes 90 women in a day. So at some point now, I noticed that when there was a change in the system, one of these people decided, no, we are going to change this. And they constituted a team. I wasn't part of that team, but I think I had done too much noise already that people knew that this is what was going on in that labor ward. Today, we are talking about 5 what we call first-level hospitals. It came from all that noise that we had to make because of what was going on in that. So we want to thank God for that. And also in terms of technology, Cape, where Cape Town is, and where Cairo, Egypt is. So and when we do operations, there's something we call Cape to Cairo. So we'll cut from here to all the way down. Those used to be the operations we used to do sometime. And then at some point, of course, came the Nita bikini incision, smiling incision, like, oh, this is good. But that incision is good for performing cesarean sections, for instance, because there's no other way. But it's not good enough. There's so much technology now. Today we are talking about things like laparoscopy, keyhole, surgery. So I've been a champion of that even up to today. I'm still pushing to see how can we do this. So I'm pushing certain people from the background. Can we please change this scenario? At some point I sponsored myself and went to Germany because there was no sponsorship in government. I went there to just see what's going on here. I didn't see any woman being cut in any way. They were doing laparoscopy. That's where I saw visual robotic surgery, where the surgeon is in the corner there and the patient is here and they are busy operating on a patient far away that side. And I said, wow, this is great. So I had the privilege of organizing some postgraduate students, got them trained, organized for some people outside the country to come and train these doctors in laparoscopy. Yeah, but of course at that time I think there was a challenge with staffing. So all those people, while we were trying to do that, they were scattered. They went to different places. And beyond that also, when I was in the office of the acting head, before I became substantive, I learned that there was something called the cath lab, which was coming. So we went there. Actually, we saw this thing, gigantic thing which had come, seated in the X-ray department there. And I realized this is the machine which is used for what we call uterine artery embolization. So this procedure is where you just put some pellets in the arteries, the big arteries that supply the uterus, so that the fibroids which are there can shrink because you've starved them of blood supply. So I lobbied there that whoever is coming to do these things, let them consider. So I kept on pushing, that they make sure in that adult hospital that we would be included as OBS and gynae. And it happened, and that thing is functional. And again, we just thank God. And again, because I am as a Secretary General for the association, I bumped into this what we call high intensity focused ultrasound. This is a machine again, where you put a woman there, and you just the rays of ultrasound just shrink the fibroids. Not even a cut, not even a keyhole like the laparoscopy. Yeah, so that again, after I have left, I have pushed it for people to pursue that issue. We need that machine. We do need that machine. Yeah, so at some point, I actually started a hospital and put up everything in there and started doing surgery in there. So much was going on in there. Yeah, but the challenge was that because I was working, I would only be doing those things after hours. So that became a challenge. And because of that, it did not do very well, because my focus was on government, and I was, my heart actually was with government. And I needed to retire first but before I could retire, certain things happened, and somehow we had to shelve that project. Hopefully it comes up in future again. But I still have a lot of patients that are, where are you? Why have you left? What, like people, what's the problem, so that's where we are. And I think the other thing that I would talk about is while working there, when I was already an obstetrician gynecologist, again under that Healthcare Christian Fellowship, we started a radio station. And this is all health, health education, very exciting. Yeah, so at some point, people came, they vandalized the cables. It was seated right there in the UTH. Vandalized the cables. But now we have, thank God, a radio license, and we are reviving that. And I think I'll probably spend part of my life just talking to people now about their health. Wow. Yeah.
Doc, so what are your closing remarks as we end the program? Yeah. Especially in the line where someone, a young lady who's watching this program, would like to choose that career path.
Choose a career. I think I would say to them it's a very good career path. But they must realize that it's actually a vocation. It's a call. Yeah, it's a call. They let them realize that you work with a heart, in this career path that we are talking about. And the attitude is very important. The attitude will determine your altitude. At the end of the day, if a mother goes happy, a child goes happy, I think they will have made it. It's a wonderful profession. I would urge young women to just tag along and come.
Wonderful. Doc, Thank you for making it to the studio.
Thank you.
It has been informative.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me around.
Well, viewers, this is where we end the program. On behalf of my producer, Doreen Kalumba, and the entire Zanis production team, my name is Faith Katai. Goodbye.